Okay, in this video, I'm going to discuss Matplotlib, a very powerful package for plotting graphs and scattered plots, line plots, and 3D plots, and plots on the globe and whatnot. I mean, very powerful tool. The most important module in this Matplotlib, or the most popular module, or the most used module, is pyplot. So we can import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. Another way of writing the same kind of stuff is we can write like from matplotlib import pyplot as PLT. So either way is fine, whether we write this as a dot notation or that one, that is fine. So NP is for numpy. So let's create some points. Just make our first plot. Let's make some points starting from 0. Let's say all the points starting from 0 till 10, and let's create 1,000 points in between. One way to do that is to use built-in function or a method in NumPy, which is linspace or linearly spaced points starting from 0, ending at 10, and there are 1,000 of those points. Let's say this is our x and this is our, let's say, y, which is np.sign. This sign function is actually will apply element by element on this numpy array, and then this PLT will actually plot x comma y, all the points in front of you. So let's go to Jupyter Notebook and actually see this Matplotlib in running form for the very first time. Oh, we have seen this Matplotlib when we saw np.random, we we plotted a histogram. Wow. So this is not the first time. We actually have seen this once before. So import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. That's your import command, for example. Now PLT is available. Let's say x is np.lin space. Let's start from 0, go to 10, and generate, let's say, 1,000 points. Let's say that's your x. Y might be your np dot sign x. Let's say that's your y. And then what you do is you say, okay, plt dot plot x comma y point by point, and then you press shift enter. That's it. Oh, this plot is there in front of you. That simple. I mean, that simple. Can you imagine? This is that simple. Yeah, this is that simple. So I mean, plotting, this is a line plot, for example. If we want a scatter plot, we can say, okay, plt dot scatter. There is a scatter function that allows us to plot all these in points form rather than these line form. These are a lot of points. That's why you're not seeing these scatters. So let me take this x as fewer. Let's say let's take x as let's just take few points. Let's say just 30 points, and let's see the corresponding 30 points. Remember the indexing of numpy arrays? I'm just using that. So now use the scatter plots, and you have this. Oh, that's scatter. Maybe we want to use, let's say, start from the very beginning, go to end, and pick every, let's say, 10th point, and do the same with y, just to see a plot in a better way. Just sample some points. So that's the scatter plot. It is just like, I mean, the points and so on. It is not a continuous plot like the line plot. It's a scatter plot. We can annotate this scatter plot. We can change these colors to any color we want. For example, we can have a property. For example, color is equal to, let's say, red, and everything will become red. Yeah, so that's red. We can have, I mean, we can label it, we can X label it, we can Y label. There are a lot of properties, but the main point is, plotting is that simple. Plotting is that quick using Matplotlib. So yeah, this Matplotlib is really powerful. We have just seen a snapshot, just a plot function and a scatter function. There are a lot of properties to be set. There are a lot of things to be considered, and we will see actually one lengthier code on this COVID-19 file and we will actually analyze the death trends and the confirmed trends and some trends that and we will plot them and see the trends really using Matplotlib. So but before that, let me show you that if you call this plot multiple times, for example, maybe with different colors, then you will be having a lot of curves on the same plot, for example. So for example, let's see plt dot plot x comma y, let's say with color, let's say color equals to blue. You can write blue the whole, or you can write just b, that's fine. plt dot plot x, and let's say np dot cos x, and the color you are interested in, let's say the color is let's say green, and that's perfectly okay. And that will give you two plots in the same figure sort of, and you can just good to go. Well, yeah, so that more you can, for example, you can plot with a green color and you want the solid line, or you want for example cyan color in a dashed line, or you want a dash and dot black line, or maybe you want a completely dotted line in red color. So there are several things that are available in Matplotlib. This is just a very simple snapshot, and I have given you a very quick start. And actually the whole point is using MATLAB is that quick. I mean, you have your data, you just plug in their data, you just call the plot function, and you're good to go for analysis. Okay, in the next video, we will actually walk through the COVID-19 data set, and we'll actually analyze the trends and the death rate trends for each country individually, and then we will see the death confirmed and the recovery trend of the overall world till the 16th of March, till the date the data is available. So next video will be actually you will see the running form of pandas and Matplotlib together. So hope to see you in the next video. Okay, I already have shown you the COVID-19 file, and here I have a notebook on that uses Matplotlib and pandas to find out the deaths, confirmations, and recovery trends using different plots. So let me import all the packages that I need. I need a pyplot function from Matplotlib. I need pandas somewhere. I need NumPy, and I'm using a simple imputer here for missing values. So let's run this. Let's run this command, and yes, everything is imported. Now let's load the data that I have shown you earlier. The data is available now. And let's run this thing that is the first 50 records. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, so that's the data that is available. If you just want another view of the data, that's the data file, which is COVID-19 file, and it has observation date, province, country, last update, confirmed to date, death to date, and recovered to date for each country and for each province individually. Okay, great. So that's what we have now. What we can do is, now let's drop the serial numbers and last update using in place and rename the columns that we did already in a previous video as well. Let's convert the date into the pandas built-in date frame. Okay, let's use the scikit-learn imputer, sklearn imputer using the constant strategy. There are a lot of strategies there. Let's use the constant strategy, and this pd.dataframe impute.fit transform that will help imputing all the missing values with a constant strategy imputer. So that's there. Okay, next let's apply this group by command and group all the records using country for each country, and for all the dates let's sum all the records, let's sum all the values of recovered, deaths, and confirmed using this. But now let's first country and then all its date, then the second country, then all its dates, and so on. We have seen that in one of our previous videos, just running that again just for a double check. So that's what the data state is. So country 1, all its dates, country 2, all its dates. So this country has a lot of dates, then another country, and so on. Next, let's see how many countries are there in total, how many unique countries are there. So what I do is I find the column, I actually pick the column with country and call a unique function on that, and that gives me all the countries without repetition. And I just compute the length of countries, tell me how many unique countries are there in this data file. There are 171 countries. So now my goal is for each country, I want to see what is the trend of with respect to the date, as the date is moving from the first day till 16th of March. What is the trend of death patients? What is the trend of recovered patients? And what is the trend of confirmed patients as the date moves on? So because we have 171 countries, so let's loop over each country again and again. Let's loop over. What we do is for IDX in the range of this, that's a loop, you remember that. And what I do is let's find out the indices where the country is like this. Let's find out the index, all the indices where the country is like that. Then what I do, I make a scatter plot that with starting from this and that. I just pick the confirmed cases, and all the confirmed cases for this one country, I just pick those, and I do that using this scatter plot. Then I use another scatter plot just to get all the recovered cases. Then I do another scatter plot to get all the death cases. And then the title of my figure becomes the country name. The X label is the days since the first suspect. The Y label is the total number of cases. The legend command actually will be there that will show what each that is. So these kind of labels that are we writing here, they will appear in the figure. Then we force them to show that in each iteration, show the so this will show the trends of confirms, recovers, and deaths for all 171 countries one by one. So if we run this command, we'll be having 171 plots in front of us. Let's see all of those one by one. So yeah, so this is for the country, it has just one such thing. This is for that. This is for Afghanistan. As days moves on, the confirmed cases that are written in blue, they are moving up. These are the number of cases. These are the number of days since the first day. And the green is the number of recovered cases. For Albania, that's the trend. For Algeria, that's the trend. I mean, these are each and everything is a separate. That is for Argentina. That is for America. This is for America till the 16th March, by the way. Today, the news says that America is really in a dangerous position. Anyways, that's for Australia till the date. We have the data. That is for Austria. Yeah. So these are all the trends for all the countries. You see, I mean, the Matplotlib, how powerful that is. Although I walked through this code very quickly, but you can see this video again and again and check how that happens. Yeah. So that's what. This is for Finland. Oh, Finland is also in trouble. So France. Okay. So that is for Germany, and yeah. So all the countries that are available in dataset, they have these kind of plots. This is for Hong Kong, and this is for India, and this is for Italy. So Italy is, yeah. So that's it. So that is for each country individually. What if we want the overall trend or the overall confirm and the deaths and the recovered trend for all the world together? So what I do is I group all the data with date. So I pick the first date and add all the records, then the second date for all the records for all the countries and so on. And then I plot the trend using the scatter plot again, confirmed, recovered, and deaths for all over the world, and see the trend where the world is moving. So that's the trend of the world. As the days are going on, these are the death trend. That's a recovery trend, and that's a confirmation trend that is moving on. Although I walked through over this notebook, the notebook will be available to you. I walk over this notebook very quickly, but The goal was really to show you I mean, that was a file. May not be that informative if you see that in Excel, but now it makes much more sense. When you see these plots, you know what is happening and you have an insight in the data. And later on, we may want to predict, we may want to make predictions. And the next date, what is going to happen, we may want to predict using this plot or using some machine learning library like scikit-learn or TensorFlow or something like that. Okay, so that's it. I can talk much more about pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib. There are so many other data science packages, very important packages. One of those is sklearn. That is for machine learning, basic machine learning. Then there are other packages like TensorFlow for deep learning, PyTorch for deep learning. There are a lot of packages with a lot of specialities in data science and stuff. I just discussed a few of those, the most important of those, to manipulate the data, to make predictions, to make classification or regressions. One way is to go to sklearn or scikit-learn, and if the data is huge and you have a lot amount of data and you have good expertise over deep learning, then you should go to either TensorFlow or PyTorch. These are the Python packages that are available for predictions, classification, regression, and a lot more. But either way, whether you're going to use scikit-learn, whether you're going to use TensorFlow or PyTorch, either way, you have to use pandas, NumPy, and sometimes Matplotlib to pre-process the data and to make the data ready for these kind of libraries to perform predictions, either in the form of classification or in the form of regression. So this whole course was about for beginners who want to learn Python. Specifically, I discussed a lot about Python in general. Then I spend some time, not a lot amount of time, sometimes on exploring the data science packages as well. But I mean, there is no end. We can explore more. We can talk about the packages more. We can talk about other features of Python more. A lot of input formatting, output formatting, modules, packages, standard template library, file handling, internet access, database. This is a whole universe. I have discussed a few things for beginners, but these few things were very carefully selected for data scientists. If you have this course available to you, as you have gone through all the course, you now have a very, very good understanding, and now you can move towards further advanced courses towards data science, and you will be ready to implement the concepts in Python using the packages I have discussed so far. So I thank you all and good luck.